The Rams surprisingly re-signed this linebacker. Was it the right move? Also, the Rams want to draft a ready-made player from a big conference. Who could that be? All that more coming up next on Locked On Rams.
You are Locked On Rams, your daily Los Angeles Rams podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, Ramily, and welcome to another episode of Locked On Rams, your daily podcast covering your Los Angeles Rams. Free and available wherever you get your podcasts. Locked On Rams, part of Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. We're also available over on YouTube, so if you haven't yet, do me a huge favor. Join the party, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, hit the like button, getting close to 17,000 subscribers. My name is Doug McCain. Friends call me D-Mac. You can follow me on X and Instagram at DMac_LA. I've been covering LA sports for over a decade. 24/7 Sports, Bleacher Report, Dodgers Nation, SI. I also do NFL radio for Westwood One. Today I'm flying solo. The People's Champ, Mr. Travis Rogers, will be back tomorrow, but we have got a jam-packed show for you today. The Rams surprisingly bring back a linebacker that you're very familiar with. Was that the right move? Also, some more draft buzz about the Rams' plans and the kind of player they want to select early. And they also have another meeting with another highly ranked prospect at the quarterback position in this draft. But first, today's episode of Locked On Rams is brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. Okay, so we've got some news to get into. I know there's been a lot of mind-numbing draft talk, which I know that you love. I love it, but it's nice to get some tangible news every now and then, and we got that today. The Los Angeles Rams, they reported on their X account that they have re-signed linebacker Troy Reeder. So Troy Reeder, he was exploring the free agent market this offseason. A couple years ago, he spent a year with the Chargers in 2022 after starting his career with the Rams in 2019 and playing 3 seasons before leaving in free agency. Comes back to the practice squad, ends up making it on the team, but he is back with the Los Angeles Rams. And one of the big questions this offseason is, what were the Rams going to do at that linebacker position? Were they going to explore taking a linebacker higher in the draft? Would you look to sign someone? Would you look to bring back a veteran? Well, they ultimately signed Nate Landman. We talked about this in an episode a few weeks ago. He, of course, is more familiar with the Rams, what they're trying to do, just because he played under Raheem Morris there in Atlanta. He does, quite frankly, a lot of the same things that Reeder did, and that is someone who's better early in down, someone who's better against the run than the pass. So, yeah, they're very similar in some ways, but you got Christian Roseboom, you got Jake Hummel, and they left in free agency. So now you look at the position, you got Nate Landman, Troy Reeder, and Omar Speights. And Reeder is back. He's on a 1-year deal. And let's kind of rewind a little bit and just kind of take a look at that linebacker position to try to get an idea of what the Rams are doing. Because I've told you on this show, the Rams do not place a lot of value in that position. And then you look at Chris Shula's defense and the way he schemes things up. And yes, the defense against the run game wasn't elite last season. It's not just because the linebacker play, but you trade away Ernest Jones to the Tennessee Titans. Then you inserted Reeder as the starting linebacker, pairing him with Christian Roseboom. And Reeder started the first 6 games for the Rams before he went on the injured reserve. He was replaced by Omar Speights. He, at the time, had 46 tackles. He led the team in total snaps. But when he went on the IR and Omar Speights came in, well, the linebackers, their play actually got better. Now, that could be for a couple of different reasons. because you're becoming even more familiar with Chris Shula's system. You're kind of easing into the year. But when Spates was in there, he was 6th against the run. He was top 10 when it came to overall tackling. Roseboom, he had the 5th highest PFF grade from the linebacker spot. He was graded out as 3rd in coverage. So the linebacker play actually improved when Reeder left. And then you just kind of look at what they did this offseason, right? I mean, Landman is someone, like we talked about a couple minutes ago, he can fill up running lanes, but he's not great against the pass. So I just find this move a little perplexing just from the outset, but then you kind of dive deeper into it, and it almost kind of makes you wonder, do they have Troy Reeder back because they're going to draft a linebacker, and then you got more guys in your system that are veterans, that are experienced, that can kind of take the younger guys under their wing and kind of teach them the system a little better? So that's something that could be in play as well. But they essentially kind of doubled up at that position. So that's pretty interesting to me when you look at the similarities, because when they end up signing Landman, it pretty much, the consensus was that kind of marked the end of Troy Reeder as a possibility to bring back with the Rams. So this one, a little confounding on the outset, but look, Reeder he's a tough guy. He's good in the locker room. He is extremely familiar with this system. And I will say that just the linebacker position in general, fixing the linebacker position, that's not going to fix all the Rams' issues that they had defending the run last season. I think you look at that defensive line, tons of talent, Kobe Turner, Braden Fisk, not a ton of massive size and girth on that offensive line, little undersized compared to most around the league. You also need better tackling cornerbacks. You need a linebacker that certainly, from a sideline to sideline standpoint, gives you a little more athleticism. I mean, we didn't see a ton of 3 safety dime packages that you could throw in there and have a lot of success with. So just having a better linebacker doesn't fix all of the Rams' issues. But Troy Reeder is someone that can help this team. I think that having him on the roster based on kind of what they have now, you look at guys that are available, I mean, it really points to maybe they're, instead of taking 2 linebackers, they're just going to take 1. And the one they're going to take is someone that they're going to prioritize more and hope that they can fit him into their system a little quicker. And I think that's the biggest takeaway in all of this is the Rams just simply do not value this as highly as other franchises out there. I mean, the writing was on the wall when you saw them trade Ernest Jones, someone who was a green dot guy, someone that had a lot of experience playing in this defense, that is someone that can lead the team in tacklers. That's not what they want to do. They know they can find guys that can get the job done, and they know that you don't pour a lot of your resources into those positions because that's just not how games are won and lost in 2025 in the NFL. At least that's not what the thinking is. But I think that for Reeder, I mean, you're in a good spot as a player, knowing that, hey, you tested the waters. This is now the 2nd time that you've come back to this organization. You left once for the Chargers. You clearly were trying to see if there was a better opportunity out there for you this time around, and that wasn't the case. So I do think that this move, I wouldn't say I love this move. I wouldn't say that this is an absolute game-changing move. I do hope that the Rams draft a linebacker. I hope that Omar Speights continues to get opportunities and that hopefully you won't see a dip in production from him. I think that's kind of the biggest thing for me is that how does this impact him? And then do we get the competition with snaps, right? I mean, I think that's really what's going to come down to. Nate Landman, Omar Speights, and Troy Reeder, kind of the linebackers group that definitely is on the younger side now, especially after they draft someone presumably in this draft. Having a veteran there isn't bad. This is the guy that you're not going to break the bank for, but he's back with the Rams, and there's definitely a method to their madness, and I think that this really should be the ultimate thing that you can point to say, hey, you know, Rams, there's some people that prioritize things differently in life, right? You don't want the flashy stuff, and this is a position where it's not flashy, right? So I think if you're the Rams, that you can live with this. And coming up next, we're going to talk about some players the Rams could take early in the draft, because there's some more draft buzz that the Rams are looking for a ready-to-play player from a major conference. Could that be a linebacker? Could that be another position of need? And then also the Rams are going to be meeting with another highly ranked QB prospect for this 2025 NFL draft. That's coming up next on Locked On Rams. There's nothing like the energy of a live game, whether it's catching a last-minute MLB showdown or soaking in the excitement of an NBA matchup. But finding great seats at a great price, that used to be a challenge until I found Gametime. Gametime makes scoring last-minute tickets easier than ever. Prices actually drop as the event gets closer, and with their all-in pricing, you see the total cost up front, no surprises at checkout. Here's why I love using Gametime. Last-minute deals. Save up to 60% on buying last minute for sports, concerts, comedy, theater, and other entertaining events that you want to attend. You can grab last minute seats for Lakers games, Dodgers games. The hockey playoffs are coming up. There's so much to do in Los Angeles. Gametime is the place to go to get those tickets and save big with their zone deals. You also get peace of mind with seat views before you buy, no surprise fees, and a lowest price guaranteed. You can book with total confidence. Their lowest price guarantee means I never worry about overpaying. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, that's Locked On, LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off. Download Gametime today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. And we are off and running here on Locked On Rams. Thank you for making Locked On Rams your first listen every single weekday. Free and available wherever you get your podcast. Locked On Rams, part of Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Also, a special shout out to those everyday listeners out there watching on YouTube, listening on the pod. Cannot thank you enough. Now is the time. If you're a new listener, a new viewer, getting a lot of those recently, join the Everyday Listeners Club. The Rams are one of the most exciting, talked about, news-heavy, buzzworthy organizations in the National Football League. You got the draft coming up. Super Bowls are built in the offseason. Now is the time to join that Everyday Listeners Club, because then when they raise that Lombardi Trophy, it'll be that much more rewarding. So join that Everyday Listeners Club, and really appreciate all you guys that are already members. But here in our second segment, we are picking up on the NFL draft buzz. NFL insider Jordan Schultz, he reported that the Rams are going to be meeting with former Alabama quarterback Jalen Milroe. He tweeted sources, Alabama quarterback Jalen Milroe has upcoming visits with the Giants, Rams, and Seahawks after meeting with the Browns earlier this week. Milroe's name has been gaining steam in recent weeks, second-level speed. So he is a quarterback that continues to build draft buzz. He's someone that has really freakish top-end talent. You look at his highlights, you look at his film, and there's some plays that he makes that you say, oh my goodness, this guy has the talent to be a star in the National Football League. Then there's other plays. You look at some decision-making issues that he may have that you say, well, he's got to clean up some things too. So I think when you look at variance, Milroe has that. We talked about Jackson Dart at length on this show, and one of my gripes about Jackson Dart and why I'm not the biggest Jackson Dart guy for the Rams is that he doesn't do anything particularly elite. Anything that you say, wow, that kind of makes your jaw drop. When you see Lamar Jackson run and Josh Allen run and throw and Mahomes throw and Burrow's accuracy and things like that, when you see elite traits, you can usually point to quarterbacks that have them in spades, and it's one or two things. Dart doesn't have that, but Milroe, he has the potential to have one of the strongest arms in the National Football League, to be one of the most athletic quarterbacks in the National Football League. His biggest strength is his arm strength. A 95.8 PFF passing grade on passes thrown 40 or more yards. That's the best in the entire draft class. So when he sits back in the pocket and he's looking deep, he can throw it from a velocity standpoint, from an accuracy standpoint, about as well as anyone when he's at his best. Then you kind of look at deeper into that measurable. Let's kind of stick with that for a second. I mean, you look at his overall PFF grades from top to bottom. Overall, he was 87.4, seventh in the sport. His big-time throw percentage at 5.2% was 12th. Turnover-worthy percentage, 2.5%, 17th. You want to be closer to 1. Adjusted completion percentage, 72.6%. That was 29th. Pressure to sack rate, 18.5%. That was 33rd. PFF clean pocket grade, 90.2, 14th. PFF under pressure grade, 55.1. That's 17th. So you look at the size of him, not the biggest dude, 6'2", 225 pounds, but his athleticism, he's very strong, and kind of getting back to that arm strength. That's where he can be a star at the next level, because the issues that he may have on some intermediate downs and some throws between 5 and 25 yards, you don't want to make up for those. You hit a guy deep with an explosive, and he certainly has the potential to do just that. The deep ball, to just put it is something to behold. It truly is. I mean, I was wowed. I mean, I did watch a good amount of Alabama football, but kind of going back and looking at the tape, that's what really stands out. There's also the athleticism. He is a really, really top-level athlete at that position. Right away, he is going to be one of the most athletic quarterbacks in the sport. Some people have said that he is Richardson on steroids, right? He's someone that is another level than that. He had the 6th most yards on design runs. He had the 3rd highest rate of breakaway runs. Those are 15-plus yards or more. He had the 9th most first down gains among quarterbacks. So you look at those numbers right there. Breakaway rushes, getting first downs. He did that at an elite level in the college ranks. And I think for him, too, it's not just, I'm going to take off right now because I'm fast. It was having the understanding of when to do it, when to exploit a defense, when to pull it and say, okay, I'm going to try to make something happen on the ground. It's got to be enticing, right? When you got lightning in your pocket like that, it's got to be enticing to just want to run on every play, right? But he didn't do that. I mean, he stood in the pocket tall, goes to those high-level Alabama receivers like he was doing, and also he just didn't take a ton of sacks. So that's definitely a indicator of quality decision-making, especially on the first and second downs of drives and possessions. So definitely positive there. So, and the thing too, to be a running quarterback and a quarterback that uses legs at the next level, it's got to be big time. It's got to be special. It's got to be Lamar. It's got to be Kyler Murray. It's got to be guys with top end running ability, athleticism. You've seen kind of guys come up and they try to use their athleticism, and they were good in college. I mean, it's not necessarily that explosive. Like Caleb Williams, I think, is going to have to beat guys from the pocket to truly be a star for the Bears, right? I mean, his out-of-structure plays and expanding the pocket and extending plays, you didn't see as much of that. I think he's got to beat guys from the pocket because he doesn't have that explosive speed that a Lamar Jackson or Kyler Murray has. I mean, if you are that in college, it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be that at the next level. Jalen Milroe definitely has the speed to impact games at the next level. Now, the weakness comes with the consistency of the accuracy. And you can measure that by his success in throws that have been between 5 and 20 yards. He had a 30.1% uncatchable pass rate. That was the 4th lowest among all the quarterbacks in the upcoming draft. Just to give you an idea of how that could translate in the pros, well, last year in 2024, there's only 2 NFL quarterbacks that had an uncatchable rate like that. So it's rare to be that inconsistent and make it in the NFL. So you just have to find a way to be better in those situations. And I think for him, it's getting into a good system, getting with the quarterback's coach that can develop him, getting him more reps, And I think that's something that could benefit him, and that's why you kind of bet on the potential. I think with Jalen Milroe, one thing you have to also know too, 22 years old, right? We've kind of seen a trend of kind of older quarterbacks and guys going in there. We saw Bo Nix last year, guys like that having success early on. You look at this draft right here, it's kind of back to being around that 22-year-old range. Cam Ward is 22. Jador Sanders, you look at his age, 23, just turned 23. So I think for Jalen Milroe, you're not going to play him early. He's going to sit behind someone like a Sean McVay and a Matthew Stafford and watch those guys work. Watch Sean McVay coach up an offense and develop him. And look, it's an enticing possibility. I mean, this guy could be very dangerous with his upside, but you definitely need an accurate thrower. He has to improve that aspect of his game if he's going to make it at the next level. If you're big on hand measurables, if that is your thing, right? If that is your thing, which I think is absolutely overblown, it for sure is. I mean, Patrick Mahomes, he's a 9 1/4 hand guy, right? My hands are bigger than that, right? I mean, Jalen Milroe's, his hands are under 9 inches. And 9 inches is kind of the standard in the National Football League when it comes to quarterback hand sizes. And if that's an obstacle, if that's something that impacts the delivery of his throws, that's you hear a lot of different things and a lot of different theories with that kind of stuff. And then there's also just the overall decision-making in general. I mean, when it comes to identifying defenses, making reads, going through your progressions, processing just information, and just kind of making those anticipatory throws, just being smoother overall in the pocket, that's an area where he can absolutely improve upon as well. I mean, for him, he's playing with teams that typically have more talent than the defenses they're going up against down in Tuscaloosa in Alabama. So I think for players like that, going to your first, second, third read, getting more consistency in those situations is going to take some time. And the playing field levels up once you get to the next level. And I think that's why he's going to need some time. So I will say at the number 26 pick, this would probably be a little too high for me unless Sean McVay truly believed in his heart of heart, this organization truly believed in his heart of heart that this is someone that, I mean, second level speed and outrun a DB, right? Strong arm. You see kind of the flashes of greatness there. If you truly believe that, then look, I could get behind it. I would prefer Jalen Milroe over Jackson Dart just from an upside play, because I think that to win, you want a star and someone that has that upside potential, especially if you're drafting them with your first round pick, because I would say that when it comes to star power, especially in this town, that's definitely a factor. So that's a move that they could make that would, I think, be entirely predicated on just the internal feelings towards this specific player and what they think they can extract out of him, because you can make guys better decision makers and help them process defense better through repetition. What you can't teach is just that athleticism, that arm strength. And I'd prefer talent over experience. I prefer talent over ability of decision making. So talent you can't teach, and that's what he has in spades, and it's an interesting possibility to say the least. But coming up next, some more Rams draft buzz about what could be impacting their decision-making early on in the draft and the kind of player they could be looking for. That's coming up next on Locked On Rams. And welcome back to Locked On Rams. Thank you for making Locked On Rams your first listen every single weekday. Free and available wherever you get your podcasts. Locked On Rams, part of Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Okay, here in our third segment, diving into more Rams draft buzz. And the buzz right now is that an NFL scout is saying that the Rams want to draft a ready-made player from a big conference. This comes from ESPN's Matt Miller, who wrote, "A rival scout I talked to didn't expect Los Angeles to be active on the trade front, predicting that the team would use each of its 8 picks because, quote, they need young bodies. The Rams have shifted their philosophy to target more instant impact players and fewer developmental prospects. The scout also added they'll be patient and draft a ready-made player from a big conference." So this is really interesting, and this kind of falls in line with what I've been kind of saying this entire draft season, and that is that with the hits that you made in the last couple of seasons, by having success in the later rounds, guys like Puka Nacua, even earlier than that, and Kobe Turner, just find these foundational guys every single round, it seems like, and kind of striking gold again and again and again, that puts you in a position to win now, especially with bringing in Devontae Adams and getting Matthew Stafford to continue his career here. You don't have a lot of years with this nucleus as it stands, so why not go out there and get plug-and-play players that can help you hoist a Lombardi trophy in the next 1 or 2 seasons? And you add the players coming from a conference or a big program. I mean, look, that translates. I'm a believer in that. I mean, you get guys that come from big situations, and yeah, they're used to playing in front of 60, 70,000, used to being on national TV. They're used to being in high pressure games that have a lot of stakes. But who could those players be? Who could those players be, and what positions could they be at? Well, start the tight end position. We've talked about it ad nauseum. Going to sound like a broken record, but Tyler Higbee, a lot more yesterdays than tomorrows with the Rams. Colby Parkinson did not work out. They have not found that dynamic tight end to truly unlock every aspect of this offense with Matthew Stafford under center and Sean McVay at the helm. Colston Loveland out of Michigan is very dynamic. Trading up for Tyler Warren, who knows where he's going to go in the draft, if he'll fall or not. Your quarterback position is an area they could go. A guy like Jahdae Barron out of Texas, we've talked about a lot. That addresses a position of need. Someone that has played a lot of high-end football, just coming off that CFP appearance where they lost that heartbreaker to Ohio State. Linebacker, Jihad Campbell out of Alabama. We saw the move they made with Reader. Is that because they're taking a high linebacker? I mean, there's ways that they could go. Josh Connerly, Simmons at Ohio State at the tackle position. There's places they could go. Receiver, Isaiah Bond out of Texas. I mean, who knows what the Rams truly want to do? But if they're going to put it in a bucket of, okay, plug-and-play players, big conferences, big programs, that kind of at least gives you some more parameters to think about. And if this is true, we don't know. This is lying season, right? It's his lying season. It always is. Smoke screens here, smoke screens there. I mean, I saw people in the comments yesterday dropping some good theories about that. And yeah, this is lying season, so you don't know 100%. But I will say, if this is the thought process, if this is how the Rams are thinking, I like it. I really, really do. Because these players you're taking, they're developmental guys. What's the point of having developmental guys if you're having to hopefully bank on a rookie quarterback in a year from now? Bank on a quarterback through a trade, right? When you have the most important asset in place, you go for it. And that's what they have in Matthew Stafford. So I hope this is the thinking, and I hope those are the players. And I really want to see what is going on behind the scenes, and things I've heard too are pretty similar to that. So we'll see what happens with this Rams draft, and it's going to be extremely exciting. I really hope this is kind of the direction they're heading. But that's going to do it for this episode of Locked On Rams. My name is Doug McCain. You can follow me on X and Instagram at DMAC_LA. And until next time, whose house? It's Locked On Rams house.